Be strong and courageous. He will give you much success. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Faith, Family, and Food at the Parsonage. My name is Tananda. I am jumping in the kitchen really quickly to make a birthday cake for my daughter. So what I wanted to do is go ahead and get the layers done today, and then I'll come back and do the icing or frosting later on tonight once the layers have cooled. But my daughter's birthday party is on Friday, and one of my nieces cannot have dairy. She's allergic to it. And so what I'm doing is making a dairy-free cake. So I was going to just use my regular vanilla cake recipe. However, I looked up another recipe and found one that did not have any dairy, any eggs, no butter, anything like that. No milk, no butter, no eggs. So I was like, well, let's try that one. So what I did was I pulled up my recipe. So you'll see me referencing that. If you see me looking up, it's literally up here. Flip that around in my cabinet here. So and then what I did was I ran in here really quickly, just pulled out all the stuff. There's nothing measured. I have my flour, sugar, everything that I need here, and I'm going to get started. So I just wanted to record it so that you guys can see other options for making a cake if you have someone in your family that is allergic to dairy or cannot have eggs or a vegan. So this is definitely a great option. So guys, keep watching if you want to know how we made this cake and how it turns out. So again, don't forget to comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you like what you see and you want to get notified when we upload new videos every Monday and Friday. So yeah, hold one moment and I will get started. Okay, so like I said, I did not measure out anything. I literally just came in the kitchen, pulled out all the ingredients that I would need for my cake, and threw on this apron so that I did not get dirty. And the only thing I did was put some room temperature water, or put some water in this measuring cup so that it will be room temperature when I need it for the recipe. So I'll just measure out as I go along. I have 3/4 cups of granulated sugar, and so because I want to double this recipe, I'm going to use 1.5 cups, and hopefully my math is right on the spot. All right, and what I did like about this recipe, which is why I decided to do this one, is because it was done in 2 bowls, really one, but because you have to separate the chocolate cake from the vanilla, it'll have a second bowl. But aside from that, let's see, right, this one, get out of there, 2, 3, all right, so that's 1 cup, and then I'll use my half a measuring cup to do my 1/2 cup. All right, so that's 1.5 cups of sugar. Let's put top on that. And then what we want to do is sift in the flour. So I'm going to move my sugar out of the way, set it on the table over there, and move over to my flour. So what I always do when I am getting ready to bake or getting ready to take flour out of my flour container, I put my flour in there. I usually take my whisk and I'll whisk around the flour just to loosen it up, because I don't want any clumpy flour. I like for my cakes to be nice and light, especially if it's a layer cake. So I will whisk around the flour that's just been sitting to kind of loosen up the clumps, and then I will measure it into my measuring cups. And what we're doing, what we need to do is to actually sift the flour, salt, and the baking powder into the sugar. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to put it all in this bowl first. And because I'm going to use this bowl again, I'll just keep that there. So for those of you that do not bake, when you measure flour into the measuring cup, you don't want to pat it down and you don't want to shake it down, because then it'll be too dense or too much. So what you do is, I'm just going to pull this towards me so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, so when I measure out my flour, I'll fill it up like this, and then I'll level it. Make sure that it's flat across, straight across, just like that. And so what this recipe is asking for is 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. So that was a cup of flour. I'm going to do my second cup of flour. And essentially we'll have, I believe, 3.5 cups of flour, if my math is correct again. So again, level that off. I'm going to do, let's see, that was 1 3/4, so 3/4 and 3/4 is 1.5. So yeah, so I'm going to do this one. Sorry guys, I'm just making sure that I have this measured correctly. Following a recipe is more like a science, so that way all the ingredients mesh together and make the delicious cake that you want, not a disaster in your oven. So yeah, that's what I want, 3.5. All right, so I'm working on my, excuse me. Okay, thought I had to sneeze there. All right, so that's 3 cups of flour, and then I need a half a cup. And I'll do this one the same way. I'll just pile my flour in, not pat it down, level that off, and put that in there. And the recipe also calls for 3 teaspoons of baking powder. And technically 3 teaspoons equals a tablespoon, but because we're baking, I'm just going to measure out the 3 teaspoons and just go from there. I don't want to mess up this recipe, considering I've never used it before. So I will measure it out the way it asks for. So 3 teaspoons of baking powder. All right, and so essentially that'll give me 6 teaspoons if I double this recipe. 2, 3. I'm going to need some more baking powder soon. 4. 5. 6. I pray that was 6 and not 7. And then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I like to use the kosher salt because it works better in cold recipes that heat up. All right, just measuring that out. All right, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. I'm gonna whisk that together to mix it in. And then I do actually have a sifter, but just gonna do this for time's sake, so you guys can see that. See what I'm doing here? I'm just putting that in, whisking it into the flour. Into the sugar. I'll do a little at a time. Let's do 1/2 and 1/2. Uh-oh. Like I said, because I just kind of decided to just do this recipe, I didn't really prepare. All right, and then we'll do the rest of the batch here. And as you can hear, there is nobody in the background. I am home alone, so no one to assist. All right, I kind of spent that in the middle there because I didn't want it to fall out over the edges until some of it would come down, or could come down. All right, and then then this is the easy part. Get that all mixed in. There we go. All right, that's that. So we're going to whisk that sugar, flour together. All right. And that's all together there. All right, and then the recipe calls for a half a cup of vegetable oil, so we will need a full cup. All right, so I have my vegetable oil here. I'm gonna measure that out. So 1 cup of this. And I believe because there is no eggs, milk, or dairy in this, and that will be the vegetable oil and the water that's going to make it nice and moist. So, make sure I have that measured correctly. Yep. And then we need 2 cups of room temperature water, which I have a little bit less than 2 cups. I'm going to add a little bit more water to this measuring cup. And we'll get our 2 cups going there. Yep, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna put that in there, and then I have my vanilla somewhere around here. Maybe I put it back in the cabinet. All right, hold on 1 second. I did. All right, here we go. All right, so the last 3 ingredients are going to be the oil, the water, and the vanilla, and then we'll do some mixing. And then I'll separate the batter, and then I'll add in my chocolate for the marble. All right, so here we go. In goes my cup of oil. That's that. And then my 2 cups of water. All right. I'm going to put a little bit more water in here because I'm going to need some for the chocolate. And what I'm using is unsweetened Hershey's cocoa, which does not have any sugar, any milk in it. So it can be used for vegan recipes. And then, just referencing my, all right, so we are going to do this a little bit quicker because I don't want any clumps in this. And once I get this stirred in, I will put in the vanilla. On video, they just use a whisk, so I figured it should be just as easy. So I'll just use a whisk tip. Okay, it's getting a little thicker. I was over there. All right. Let me put it down so I can see what's happening over here. All right, there we go. All right, you're supposed to just do it until the don't see more dry flour. All right. All right, what I'm doing with my whisk is just actually spreading the sides, just make sure that there's no flour stuck to it. And I'm going to vanilla. You can taste one of that. And yummy, I'll need 2 tablespoons. All right, so that's this. This one. All right, twist into that. Now I'm going to behind. That, I whisk that in just until blended. Then we separate the batter so I can do the chocolate. Alright, so you can see that vanilla has been blended in. And I'm going to do that same bowl that I used to put the flour in. And I'm going to pour this in the bowl so I can use the chocolate in the marble. And it says to use half of it, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's alright. Okay. Put that in there. Get my chocolate out. And this is what I'm using here. Alright, and the recipe calls for 1.5 tablespoons of cocoa powder. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder and 4 tablespoons of water. So let's wipe this out, get that vanilla out of there. Alright. And for my cocoa powder, I do it the same way that I do the vanilla because of the consistency of it. I will measure out. I will stir around a little bit before I go in because this can get kind of clumpy. So I'll do that. Yeah, see how that is? It's not fine at all. So what I'm actually going to do is to sift this into my bowl as well. So that's 1, 2, 3 of these. 3. Alright, so 3 tablespoons of chocolate. Put my top back on that. Set that to the side. Get all my chocolate out of there. Don't leave any behind. Alright. And I'm going to just move that back and forth. And so I don't waste any extra dishes. I'm just going to use the same measuring spoon to just get all of that cocoa powder out of there. All right, and it asks for warm room temperature water. So we need, I believe, 4 tablespoons of water. All right, so, yep. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And I'm going to actually take that same whisk and I'm going to whisk this together. And that is coming together quite nicely. It smells really good. And again, what I'm doing is just scraping the sides of the bowl, getting any chocolate off that is stuck there. And then I'm just whisking it in till it's nice and smooth. And then I'm going to walk over and grab my pans that have been prepared with baking spray. All right, that is all done. All right, and as you can see here, I have my chocolate for the marble part, and then I have my vanilla icing for that. I'm going to grab my pan and we'll move over so that we can put it in the pans and get it in the oven. All right. And the recipe or the video that she actually did, she put it in a 7x3 pan, so it's a much deeper pan. This is an 8x2, but I wanted to make 2 layers, 2 really thick layers. So what I'm going to do is fill these 2 up and hopefully get a decent sized cake out of it. So we're going to start with the vanilla. I'm going to pour a little bit in here. Maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to do that for both pans. And the other pan is just here as well as just off to the side. I just want to make sure you guys can at least see one of the pans of what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to take that chocolate and put a bit in the middle there. And then I'm going to do the same for the other one. Just do it right in the middle. And do a little bit more. There's that there. So basically what I'm going to do is just go back and forth, and what I'm going to do is just speed up this part, guys, so that you don't have to watch the slow-mo. All right, look at that. Both of those. Here's the second one. You can see that. All right, and then what I'm going to do is take a skewer. Let's see, what do I have? What do I have? Actually, I will use this butter knife, and I'm going to rake it through to mix up the two colors. But I'm going to wipe the knife off every time that I get to the middle. And because I want this more marble, alright, that's that one. I'm going to work on the second one. And the exact same thing. And to be quite honest, I see this, but the amount of cake that it is taking out of the pan, I don't necessarily like that. So the next time I will use a skewer. And there we go. And I'm going to put these in a 350-degree oven, let it cook for, I believe it's 30 to 35 minutes, or until the cake is done. Yeah, 35 minutes. And then we will come back and see what it looks like. All right, cakes are in the oven for 35 minutes, 350 degrees, and we'll come back and see what they look like when we take them out. Y'all, look, I am amazed at these cakes that they came out this way. I'm getting ready to pull them out of the oven, but look at this. Rose beautifully. I'm going to take them out to let them cool for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and then I'll put them on some racks to cool completely.